Hey everybody, 8-Bit Josh here, and welcome to the first episode in my next Planet Coaster series, Aurora Park. So I've been kind of mulling around the idea for this park for a while now, and kind of the basic idea is that it's a sci-fi themed park in a Arctic setting, which I don't think I've seen any parks in Planet Coaster that are sci-fi but also in an Arctic setting. I mean, there's plenty of sci-fi parks for sure, but at least that I've seen, I haven't seen any that have like the kind of mix the sci-fi with the Arctic, which I think would be a really cool, you know, kind of setting. Reminds me of, I don't know, there's all kinds of, there's video games and movies out there, but I'm drawing lots of inspiration from this park from, you know, other video games and movies. Aliens is a big one, kind of going for that like grungy sci-fi look. Yeah, so the idea behind this park is it's in like a crater. You don't see a whole lot of it in this episode, like of the crater. You see little glimpses of it off in the distance there, but so that, I guess, story, if you will, is that maybe this is on another planet or on a moon somewhere, but basically they're, you know, they want to have a theme park, and so they decided to build a theme park in a crater. So I don't know, I thought that sounded kind of cool, but one of the reasons I wanted to do this in a crater is because when you do the Arctic setting or like theme in Planet Coaster, like off in the distance you see all the mountains and like the pine trees and things, and I didn't want those to be visible, and you can't, at least I don't think you can change that. I know the scenario editor lets you change like kind of what the map is that wraps around your own map, but I don't think you can make it so where there are no trees out there, and I didn't want those to be visible because like while you're inside the park, because I wanted to have that sort of sci-fi, you know, like I said, otherworldly or kind of moon. As you're a guest walking through the park, you wouldn't be able to see over top the mountains. So that's kind of my thought there. That's why I decided to go with the crater. And then the other thing is I made use of the scenario editor in that I adjusted the size of the map. So the crater is pretty big, but it's not as big as, you know, the full size map. And so I went into the scenario editor and I adjusted the size of the buildable area of the map, just to give it, you know, I didn't want to make like such a huge park that, you know, like Adventure Park was. If you watched, you know, the last few episodes of that series, you heard me talk about it quite a bit. The goal for this series and, you know, probably future series is to not only kind of try and get episodes out quicker for you, but also to make smaller maps and smaller parks, and you know that will help, you know, kind of be able to make the parks, or be able to get the episodes out faster, and also it's be a bit of a challenge for myself just because it's sort of a constraint with how much room we have to build, plus with the mountains and stuff too. I don't plan on building anything on the mountains. It's just gonna mostly be within the crater. That could change too, as you know, like as time goes on. Yeah, so you might be looking at this and you're like, why do you have a cowboy animatronics sitting there? And part of the reason for that, when I build like really large scale buildings in Planet Coaster, sometimes it's like, sometimes you lose the scale of everything. And so having the animatronic there, which they're the same like height and size as the actual guests that come into your park, so it's just kind of an easy way for me to not lose track of the scale of everything. And then the other thing you see me building here with the scenario editor, you know, if you're familiar with the game, there's like a spawn point where the guests actually just kind of spawn onto the map, and usually it's just like in the terrain and like a little cave thing, and then, you know, there's a pathway that comes out and then you build your entrance from there. Well, with the scenario editor, you can actually move that spawn point around to wherever you want it on the map. And I was like, you know, the guests literally just like spawn. They just materialize at that point. I was like, wouldn't that be really cool to use that and kind of make like a teleporter? So that's what I was building there. The idea is like, not only is this park in a crater, but it's, like I said, maybe it's on another planet or on a moon, and you can't just drive there. So the way you get to the park is you actually teleport into the park. And, it obviously this is more just sort of like, a little bit of fiction there to kind of go along with the style of the park. It's not actually how that happens, but I just kind of I thought it would be a cool effect to have the guests actually just spawn right there, and then the entrance will also be in this building as well. So the guests not only spawn here, but then they also walk through the entrance, and that's where they pay for their tickets to get in. So here, yeah, basically just adding details, and I as usual, if you've watched my my last series, I just kind of like start building things. Like sometimes I have a general idea of what I want to do, but or what I want it to look like at the end, but kind of getting to that end point, I don't really ever have it planned out. So yeah, just kind of, you see me a lot, like I add details here or there. I might delete stuff and then add something else. But yeah, I talked a lot, the last few episodes of my last series, kind of how I wanted this series to go. And it, my last series was the hard mode challenge. I said like about, I don't know, the 10th episode into that series, it really stopped being a challenge, and it was basically just a sandbox mode, except for still had to research everything. And so I figured with this series, it'd be cool to, it's just sandbox mode and just have complete, creative freedom, and we have all the rides and everything right at the beginning, so we're just free to build whatever we want. And the other thing is, I wanted to be a lot more detailed with this park than the last one. And part of that is, you see, this entire episode is just this building, because it took an awful long time to detail and all that stuff. And, even in time lapse, I think before I edited everything down, I think in time lapse, it was still an hour long. So I think this is, right around like 25, maybe 30 minutes. I don't really know exactly, but yeah, so I actually did edit a lot out, because most of it was like me sitting there for 2 minutes trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do here, and then kind of building it and rebuilding and deleting and rebuilding, and all that stuff's not super interesting, at least I don't think it is. But I wanted this to be kind of concise, and so you kind of see all the major points that how everything gets built up. And that kind of brings me to something else I meant to mention at the top of the video, but as you'll notice, this entire video is a time lapse. And so this series is going to be different from the last series, where the last one, it was like more of a traditional let's play. This one it's going to be, probably every episode's going to be a time lapse like this, just because the nature of this series, where I'm trying to be like incredibly detailed with, everything, and everything takes a really long time to build and design. And then going with the whole idea of like, I'm trying to get episodes out quicker for you guys, and things like that. So doing that in a time lapse will allow me to build things faster, get episodes out quicker for you guys, and things like that. Like I feel like this building alone took me it took me a few days probably overall to complete. And if I would have made like actual episodes out of just this building, it probably would have been 3 or 4 episodes just on this building. And, you know, I feel like that would just, you know, take way too long. You know, I don't want a series that's like 100 episodes, and I don't know that you guys do either. I mean, maybe you do, but, you know, I just feel like I wanted to do something a little different with this series from the last one, aside from, you know, the kind of the theme and everything and the fact that it's sandbox. I didn't want to do just a traditional kind of let's play style series with our let's play style videos with this series. We'll probably do like some live streams where, you know, I have a lot more time to kind of do stuff and build and all that. So that'll also help kind of keep it going, you know. But yeah, so hopefully you like this method and this style of videos. I'm excited to do it just because I'm excited to get that extra level of detail to the park, and so hopefully all of you guys enjoy that. And then yeah, here just kind of building the sort of like little service desk kind of ticket booth. Obviously non-functional, but you know, just for the whole kind of look and vibe that this is supposed to be, you know, the entrance to the park, and then, you know, also the, you know, where they teleport into the park, but then they also buy their tickets here, you know, the entrance, and you know, the queue to get into the park is here. And I just thought it was little kind of cool with the desk. So here I'm just building like the little, you see the little spaceman as my reference of scale, but I thought it'd be cool, like make like a little locker section where the guests can, you know, rent lockers and put all their personal stuff in it. Obviously it's non-functional. The game doesn't actually have a feature like that, although that'd be really cool. But yeah, so this is like the little kind of front desk, like they walk in and, you know, maybe they haven't bought their tickets yet, so they would pay this guy, Mr. Spaceman. And then oh, now we're building on to something else. But so yeah, like maybe they'd buy their tickets there, or they could rent their lockers. And then this is the outer wall, well, the inside of the outer wall. And I did it this way because I thought it would be easier to kind of see everything when it's outside like this, as opposed to trying to be inside the building, trying to build this wall like this. Yeah, just, you know, kind of doing some typical sci-fi stuff, lots of metal and, you know, kind of tubing and all that stuff, which I think makes obviously makes a good sci-fi setting because it's what they put in the game. Yeah, so here we're just kind of working on the roof and well, the underside of the roof, and part of this will be like inside the building, the other part is sort of like the overhang. And then I use these are actually engines, and I was like, oh, they make pretty cool lights, so I'll just put them up on the ceiling like that. But yeah, like I had like a major setback when I started building this, the entrance building here. I actually deleted like 2 videos that were gonna be part of this time lapse, and like you may have noticed at the very beginning that the building was already partially constructed, and that's because I had deleted the videos where I was building the actual like design layout of the building. But I figure it's okay, there's plenty of content to show for the building of this, just because there's so much detail. Like I said, the full time lapse without any edits was like an hour long, so I think it was okay. But yeah, I would, like I said, I do have lots of my own ideas for this park. I would love to get your guys' thoughts, and here I'm just like sinking it back into the side of the mountain, doing a little bit of terrain editing. But yeah, I would love your guys' input. You know, if you have any like cool sci-fi ideas that we can do for the park. You know, this is just like the last series. You know, it's definitely better when I get your guys' input, because you know, I want you to be interested in it too. And I think you know, when I incorporate your guys' idea, it's interesting for me as well, but also for you guys, I think. Yeah, so here just doing, you know, just doing some more editing the terrain, kind of raising the mountain up around. And here you can see the crater a little bit better. So it's not like a huge area to build in for the park, but I mean, it's still pretty big. It's probably, I don't know, a third of the actual map size, I would say. And again, like I said, it's just more for my own challenge, since this is sandbox mode. You know, there's no challenge in sandbox mode. So I thought it would be a way to at least challenge myself a little bit. Just being able to limit the size of the map, and, you know, kind of, plus with sci-fi, I think, you know, at least when you see sci-fi in like movies and things, everything's always like really compact and close together. So gonna try and go for that as well. You know, I think the crater will help with that as well. And then here, just trying to fit the actual entrance. It's called a ticket booth. It's not an actual booth, but it's what it's called in the game. Just trying to get it to fit with the pathway in there and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it took a little bit of finesse to get it to, you know, want to connect to the path in there, because I really wanted, you know, the sort of entrance to be like, you know, they come in through the teleporter, and then they kind of have like a little queue that they have to walk through first before they can even enter the park. But eventually I was able to make it work, as you can see, and so I was pretty happy with that. And then I realized, like, you can kind of see the path right there. It's like curving a little bit, and I was like, man, what can I put here to kind of cover that up to make it look like it's, you know, just like the actual part of the building. So I decided, I took the simple shapes here, just like the rectangle pieces. At first I just, like you see, I used kind of the smaller pieces, because I was like, oh, I'll just patch it in, you know. And I was like, well, that one little square, I did it over here too. And I was like, those squares look way different than the rest of the queue. So I took like the biggest piece and I just sunk it down in there, and it was like a cool little side effect to, you know, it added a different look to the floor, I guess. You know, it made it look like an actual, just one piece of the floor. But yeah, so some of my ideas I have for this park, and actually I actually have them, the notes. Let's see. So a few areas, like, you know, like every other park, there'll be different kind of areas. You know, it's all gonna be sci-fi, but I'll do my best to make each section kind of interesting and at least stand out. One thing I want to do is, and I don't know how easy it would be to build, but do sort of like one area that's inside of a dome, and then that inside the dome will be more like a regular looking park. So there'll be trees, and you know, it'll look like it's something like, you know, on Earth or something. And I just thought that'd be like a really cool idea. In the middle of all the sci-fi, you have this like dome, and then on the inside use big lush trees and all that stuff. So to give the people on you know, whatever moon / planet this is on, a taste of Earth, if you will. And then I have a few other ideas that would also incorporate the Adventure Pack DLC that came out not too long ago. A few ideas. I'll probably, once the time comes to get there, I'll obviously let everyone know. But yeah, I think it'll be what the idea I have in my head sounds really cool. Whether I'm able to pull it off, that's another thing. It'll be cool once it's once that part gets going, I think. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. There's only a few minutes here left in the time lapse, but yeah, it was sorry for the lateness in getting this episode out. Like I said earlier, I had the little mishap where I accidentally deleted footage I had recorded, and it, ended up setting me back quite a bit. Plus, really, I just kind of wanted to take a break for a little bit just on Planet Coaster. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, just, I've been playing it for the last year, and it was fun to, I started the Prison Architect series, and that's a lot of fun. But yeah, so back at it with Planet Coaster. I'm really excited to do this sci-fi Arctic themed park, and I would love to get your suggestions, things you would maybe like to see in the park, or if you have some cool sci-fi ideas that we can do. I definitely would like to hear those. And then I thought it'd be really cool is like when you guys do make suggestions, just in the comments below, I'll read them in the videos, and then give you guys, try to get you guys included and give you credit for anything I decide to put in the park. If I like your idea, I'll put it in, and of course I will read these suggestions and stuff in the videos, and I think it would be fun. I think it would be cool to kind of build that community of, yeah, I'm building this park, but hopefully a lot of it will also be done with your guys' suggestions. So yeah, anyway, this is Aurora Park, so be on the lookout for some more videos, and they'll be coming soon. So with that, I am 8-Bit Josh, and thanks for watching. See ya.